So, what if the biggest battles aren't really fought with swords, but with sight? Today, we're going to jump into this amazing story from Kings, and trust me, it plays out just like a modern day's spy thriller. We're talking divine intervention, secret intel, and a definition of victory that'll completely blow your mind. Okay, so let's set the scene here. We're not just talking about some small raiding party. No, the Syrian king mobilizes a great host. We're talking infantry, cavalry, and even their elite chariot units, which, were basically the tanks of the ancient world. And their entire mission? To find and capture just one guy. And this is the question that just flips the whole story on its head, right? It totally shifts the narrative from a simple manhunt to this really profound lesson on power, perception, and what it actually means to have the upper hand. All right, so our story really gets going in the middle of this super tense geopolitical chess match. Think mid-9th century BC. On one side, you've got the king of Syria, most likely a guy named Ben-Hadad II. And on the other side, the entire nation of Israel. The stakes here are, well, they couldn't be higher. So the Syrian strategy is classic, right? It's textbook military doctrine. Use the element of surprise. They're setting up these secret ambushes in really carefully chosen spots to trap and, well, annihilate the enemy. I mean, on paper, it's a solid plan. It's all based on conventional warfare and tactical precision. Yeah, but here's where it gets interesting. Israel isn't countering this with a better spy network or anything like that. No, they have something way beyond that. The prophet Elisha is getting what you could call divine intelligence, pinpointing the exact locations of Syria's secret camps and feeding that info straight to Israel's king. So every single ambush, it's completely useless before it even gets started. So you can imagine, after a few of these ambushes totally fail, the Syrian king starts to realize, okay, this isn't just bad luck, right? His top secret battle plans, the ones he came up with in his own war room, are being leaked. He knows there's a mole, but this is an informant he just can't trace through any normal channels. And this is where we see a huge strategic shift. Syria figures out that as long as Elisha is in the picture, they will never get a tactical advantage. Suddenly, this war of armies has become a war for information. And to win, they have to go after the source, Elisha himself. So Syria's response, it's swift and it is overwhelming. An entire military force secretly makes its way to the city of Dothan, where Elisha is staying. They get there under the cover of darkness and just completely surround the city walls. I mean, from the ground, it's this terrifying, seemingly inescapable show of force. So the next morning, the sun comes up and the trap is revealed. For Elisha's servant, who's probably just going out to fetch some water or something, the physical reality of their situation becomes terrifyingly clear. They are surrounded, totally cut off, and from every single angle you can imagine, hopelessly outnumbered. And you can just feel the panic in his voice, can't you? He sees the sheer size of the Syrian army, and he's just hit with this wave of dread. I mean, this is the totally natural, human response to a situation that looks absolutely impossible. From his perspective, there is no way out. But Elisha, his response is just perfectly, almost unnervingly calm. He starts talking about a different reality, one that isn't measured by what you can see with your own two eyes. He introduces this radical idea that their side, which, let's be honest, looks like two guys against an entire army, is actually the larger force. How crazy is that? And this is the big reveal. This is the turning point of the whole story. Elisha prays, and suddenly the servant is given this kind of spiritual sight. And what he sees, it changes everything. The entire mountain around them is just full of a divine army, horses and chariots made of pure fire, a heavenly host that completely dwarfs the Syrian forces down below. The physical threat is just totally overshadowed by this incredible spiritual reality. Okay, so with this fiery army at his command, what do you think is going to happen next? You'd expect Elisha to, call down some fire and brimstone on the Syrians, but he doesn't. Instead, as the enemy army starts to advance, he prays for something completely unexpected, kicking off one of the most audacious, frankly, bizarre military maneuvers in the entire text. It's like this four-step checkmate that Elisha just orchestrates on the spot. First, he prays for the army to be struck with a kind of disorienting blindness. Then, he just walks right up to them, tells them they're in the wrong place,
And get this, he personally escorts the entire enemy army all the way to Samaria, the heavily fortified capital of Israel. And once they're all safely inside the city walls, he prays again, and their sight is restored.
I mean, can you just imagine the scene? An entire Syrian army suddenly gets its sight back, only to find themselves trapped deep inside enemy territory, completely surrounded. They are utterly at the mercy of Israel's king. So the king turns to Elisha and asks the obvious military question. So, should I smite them? And the command that comes next is, well, it's just astonishing. Elisha absolutely forbids any violence. Instead of annihilation, he tells the king to show compassion. He says, prepare a great feast for them, give our captured enemies food and water, and then just let them go home.
And this contrast really is the heart of the whole story, isn't it? Worldly warfare, it relies on overwhelming force to annihilate an enemy. But this divine intervention, it uses supernatural power to simply neutralize the threat. The goal isn't a victory won by violence, but a victory achieved through this unbelievable act of mercy.
So in the end, this huge conflict doesn't resolve with a great battle, but with a great feast. And the immediate result? A temporary peace. The Syrian raiding parties actually stopped coming into Israel for a while, a peace that was won not through bloodshed, but through bread. And it leaves us with this final, really powerful thought, that maybe true strength isn't just about having the power to destroy your enemy, but having the wisdom and the grace to show them mercy instead.